We start at the local beach, where Princess Rhaenyra just can't believe her ex-hubby's dragon has gone and claimed himself yet another black fella what looks exactly like her old squeeze. And after he pleads fealty to her and her calls, now he's finally worth something in his life, we cut over to Alison in King's Landing, moaning about how filthy the place is and wanting to get out already, given she was almost lynched by a mob of stinky plebs last epi. So asks her lead guard to escort her out to the woods so she can get a bit of peace and quiet and also get over her trauma and stuff. And before you can say, last time a queen went off with a single escort knight, she ended up flirting with him in the woods. Aemon's busy getting rid of his eggy bro's useless drinking buddies, given they were promoted to knights despite having no experience or qualifications, and also almost got his mum and sister killed by being too cut to quell a rising riot. As Lord Jasper tells Laris that some rando's only gone and claimed Rhaenyra's ex-hubby's dragon sea smoke, and is flying about on it all over the seafront and shit. But Laris just says, cool story, bro. But don't bother telling the king, given you got fuck all evidence and just the eyewitness testimony of a bunch of drunk fishermen, because they probably see dragons every night of the week, pal. Elsewhere, back at Dragonstone, the Council of Gammons reckon it's a bit of a piss take how the plebs are now going around seizing royal beasts like they're nicking an old Ford Fiesta in an abandoned parking lot, and they have no idea who this fella is, nor what he's going to do with it for fuck's sake. Whilst upstairs, Rhaenyra tells her new lesbian bae that they can find riders for Vermithor and Silverwing. Now their theory about it only taking a slither of Valerian blood for long-lost relatives to swipe a dragon and stuff totally turned out to be true. And then they can finally get revenge on that Lucius Malfoy cosplayer and his giant dragon what killed her soy boy Sprog already. Huzzah! Also upstairs, Lord Corlys, what fucking loves a Matrix film, congratulates his super secret bastard son for finally making something of himself by accidentally getting bullied into becoming a dragon's bitch and joining a fucking war. Meanwhile, over at Harrenhal, little Oscar Tully is now a lord and head of his house after his granddad Grover died off screen last epi. And although no one respects him, given he's barely even grown a pube, he starts talking back to that blonde mad lad what once sliced a bloke's head in half in the middle of court for shits and giggles, and says you've made a right mess around here after you sent your goons to rape and pillage those villagers who wouldn't turn to your calls, and now everyone hates you and stuff. But Damon just says tough titty, son. Because your granddad pledged an oath to recognise my sister wife as heir years ago, back in season 1, so stop trying to play the big man and shut up about it already. But a little later, during a meeting with the River Lords, who he hopes will join his team, Damon's swiftly outplayed by that soy boy Scrope when he hilariously backs him into a corner and then forces him to execute his most loyal goon what ravaged all their land and women on his own orders. No! And even the ghost of his decrepit brother reckons the crown probably ain't worth all this backstabbing drama and general aggro. Speaking of decrepit royal blondes, King Aegon's crying in his bedroom like a right drama queen when being hauled about by the maester trying to get him to do his daily physio sessions and shit. As Laris tells him to shut up whining and hurry up healing. Now Aemon made it clear last epi that he sees straight through this freak what is weirdly obsessed with his mum's feet and stuff. Local deadbeat dad Lord Corlys then tells Sir Alan that his brother is now a big time big shot Billy Big Bollocks, given his bro recently got bullied into riding a big scaly beast. And I can totally relate, because I too got bullied into riding a big scaly beast last night after I matched with someone called Big Bertha on Tinder, and certainly got more than I bargained for. Anyway, on her way out of Lady Jane's gaff, Rhaena sneaks off to find that wild beast, given she's got serious FOMO and desperately wants to get in on some dragony action already. And back at Dragonstone, Jace is fucking furious that his mum's now resorted to putting petty commoners and vaguely related literal bastards on the back of godlike beings. Because that totally ruins the mystique, bro, given dragons are meant to be reserved for high-class royalty and not for any old randos who are products of forbidden affairs. And Jace worries that people might start looking into his own lineage a bit more closely now that ancestry plan he helped come up with has backfired royally. And given his true father is a strong, not a Valerian, and his only real claim to legitimacy is that he's a dragon rider, he's hilariously scrambling to pull the bastard ladder up behind him by pretending to not be one of them lower-born stock that he reckons are nothing but filth.
These people are courageous. Mongrels.
But naturally, the Queen friggin' loves a bastard, given she's had a few of them herself, and just can't believe that her son has grown up to be a snobby elite racialist, and just tells him to stop being a far-right raging bigot and shut up about it already. Later, Mysaria sends her network of spies out to tell the local townsfolk in King's Landing that they're currently recruiting for dragon riders, and auditions start at 8 AM Monday morning sharpish. Naturally, Top bragger Ulf White, who ain't shut up bragging about being a super secret Targaryen bastard for weeks and has even been milking 3 beers off the mad story, soon starts making up all sorts of excuses to get out of having to actually now put his money where his mouth is and go risk his life to claim an ancient hell beast. But soon bows to peer pressure like a riot gag, whilst Hugh Hammer, who recently just lost his sickly daughter, tells his moaning wife to stop telling him what to do already, and if he wants to go audition to get a pet dragon, given his mum was a secret Targaryen whore, then he'll do just that, bitch. Anyway, after Alicent has a little swim in a random lake because reasons, Queen Rhaenyra is totally bollocked by some local religious nuts, who also reckon it's a bit of a fucking liberty putting a bunch of proles on top of a sacred dragon, and promptly advise her that none of this will possibly end well. And after telling them to sod off and take their nutty ramblings and negative attitude elsewhere, she starts to take the volunteers down to the dragon pit to likely die already. And before they can say, "What, right now? Don't we even get a final meal before potentially getting immolated by a giant fuck-off hell beast?" she takes them all down to the pit and totally summons said giant fuck-off hell beast called Vermithor, aka the Bronze Fury, who's the second largest and oldest dragon in the kingdom.
Damn!
Naturally, he don't much like being woken up from his slumber to be petted by some pussy old plebs from the back alley gutters, nor wet weirdos with wonky eyes, and probably starts tearing shit up and incinerating fools, given he's clearly woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. And it looks like it's curtains for the dozens of nameless peasant extras which just turned up hoping to have a better life by taking a 1 in a million chance to win the heart of an ancient dragon what only responds to class, strength and respect. But luckily, Hugh manages to totally tame the fella, mainly by screaming into its face, giving it a right bollocking, by saying, "Naughty Vermithor, stop doing all these bad things." Whilst down below, a lost and terrified Ulf accidentally claims Silverwing by stepping on her eggs and then cucking worse than Will Smith anytime Jada comes home in a bad mood. Because turns out she likes weak men who are a literal pushover for some reason. And soon after, he immediately starts doing the equivalent of drunken wheelies and recklessly joyriding in restricted airspace, which totally gets the attention of that mental Prince Aemon fella, who just can't believe they dare try and face him off again after he obliterated poor Meleys and that crusty old granny a few epis back. So naturally heads off on Vhagar to smack a bitch up, and also teach them all a lesson again. But unfortunately, he too totally cucks out and does a 180 when he realises his arch-enemy half-sister has raised an army of dragons and also plonked a bunch of careless plebs on the back of them with nothing to lose. And that's it. That's the penultimate epi. Though my favourite part was when Oscar talked smack to Daemon's face.
I agree, I am young. And I have no love for Daemon Targaryen. He has dishonoured himself and the crown with his comportment here. I see no reason to cast aside loyalty, no matter how loathsome I may find her representative, the prince.
King, mind your tongue, boy.
And even Sir Simon's out here wetting himself, waiting for things to inevitably kick off.
And the word of my house stands, even if certain people are unworthy of it.
Oh dear.
Oh, shit!
But anyway, on to the finale. We start with Tywin Lannister negotiating an end to the blockade what's causing a serious famine in the city, but only ends up being challenged to a mud wrestling fight by a trans YouTuber, and no, that's not a joke, and also giving away ownership right to the Stepstones, which is the equivalent of us Brits agreeing to give Gibraltar back to the Spaniards. No! Anyway, after realising his arch-enemy is now strapped with an army of dragons and naturally totally shitting his pants about it, turns out phony fakey temp King Aemond has totally thrown a tantrum off screen and has now taken out his frustrations on an innocent backwater town, which the filmmakers can only show one single frame from because budget issues, bro. And they already spent a total fortune making them dragons dance and then gobble up a bunch of extras while scorching wonky-eyed mutant freaks last week. Elsewhere, Larys bursts into the Crispy King's bedroom and urges him to get the heck out of Dodge now Rhaenyra's got an army of giant lizard beasts and because everyone hates him in the castle anyway. So they make plans to go hide away in Essos amongst the goat farmers, at least whilst his one-eyed psycho brother and his half-sister get on with obliterating each other with dragons. And then they'll
go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint and wait for all this to blow over.
Meanwhile, over in Dragonstone, JC Boy's furious yet again after that grubby old fella's out here just chilling in the courtroom with his boots up on the desk like he's just broke into the Capitol on January 6th. And is currently treating the bastard prince like a commoner, now becoming a dragon rider's totally gone to his head and stuff. So Jace just tells him to fix up and have a little respect, bitch. Cause shit's getting real now Aemond has just torched a random town out of extreme off-screen anger. And if he lets them all down by being a rank amateur and not taking things remotely seriously, then the only joyriding he'll be doing is down to the bottom of the fucking ocean, son. Anyway, after kind of sort of lying to his queen's face about not knowing anything about her new dragon rider Sir Adam, despite him being under his employ and also his literal bastard son, Lord Corlys reminds her not to be too cocky now she's got a few more beasts at her back, because Aemond still rides the biggest bitch in the kingdom. And his sister Helena also technically has her own dragon, Dreamfire, despite her being a kooky Luna Lovegood type what lives in a world of her own and also being a pacifist. But she just shrugs and compliments the new name of his ship, now he's renamed the Sea Snake after that granny what got herself killed a few weeks back, aka the Queen Who Never Was. And before she can say, well, I was kind of hoping for something a bit more intimidating, like the Demon Sea Dog or Revenge of the Kraken's Crack, we cut over to Harrenhal, as Daemon's army prepares for war, while Sir Alfred Broom takes him aside and tells him to step up already, because shit's kicking off in the realm, and they're now stuck with a fanny who almost got killed in her own bed a few weeks back, and who also can't make a decision to save her life. So he should just go all in and declare himself king already. And if he does so, all his men will totally back him, bro. But unfortunately, Sir Simon totally overhears him, and secretly sends word to Rhaenyra about all this naughty scheming and flat-out treason going on in his own backyard. Elsewhere, Alicent makes escape plans of her own, whilst asking Helena to join her and getting the heck out of Dodge already, now their cycloptic psycho son/brother is having a right meltdown and also melting down innocent commoners from backwater towns. But suddenly, said cycloptic psycho son/brother, who's melting down innocent commoners from backwater towns, bursts in and insists his sister jumps on top of a scaly pet lizard thing and scorches the fuck out of Daemon's army over at Harrenhal already. But naturally, Helena's not really keen on doing a bunch of bad things what will inevitably get them all killed. So Aemond just grabs her and says she has to, or else they're all dead anyway. So Alicent soon intervenes and says no wonder you're single, son, if you keep manhandling small women in this way, and also sending them to their deaths just to feed your own ego. So she ain't going, and that's that. Now stop giving us all the stink eye and also cosplaying as Lucius Malfoy for some reason, and shut up about it already. Also elsewhere, Sir Kristen Stewart, aka Cole, is out here openly sniffing the Queen's hanky. And before you can say, last time I sniffed a Queen's hanky, I just got an 8-month restraining order and told never to go near that Latifah bird again. So Granny Boy just can't believe his boss has seemingly nicked his sister's personal property and has also clearly been having an affair with the mother of their reigning monarch. But Kristen no longer gives a stuff, given he's suffering PTSD and in a state of existential dread after surviving the equivalent of a nuclear explosion a few weeks back, and has totally given in to pussy old nihilism and shit.
Or perhaps all men are corrupt, and true honour is a mist that melts in the morning.
That is a bleak philosophy.
I have no philosophy. You saw what I saw. The dragons dance, and men are like dust under their feet. And all our fine thoughts, all our endeavours are as nothing. We march now toward our annihilation. To die will be a kind of relief. Don't you think?
That is some heavy shit.
Meanwhile, that Lannister fella is busy eating up precious screen time by rolling about in some mud with that transsexual bread tuber what keeps popping up in random scenes on my TV screen recently. Because clearly the writers feel that there ain't nothing else in the world that the audience would rather be watching. Because why settle for more badass dragony action when you can have the host of Philosophy Tube do some cringy acting whilst caked in crap? Which actually sounds like a standard episode of Philosophy Tube, to be fair. But after he wins her respect, he agrees to join Tyland's cause and pledges the support of her army. But not before demanding he fuck the shit out of her wives. Again, not a joke.
I want you to fuck my wives.
What?
After a painfully awkward and super rude dinner feast where Ulf continues to have zero manners in high society and thus just making super bigoted Jace even more resentful at the prospect of making these grubby plebs knights of the realm, Rhaenyra gets Sir Simon's message of potential treachery and hightails it over there pronto. Whilst indeed over at Harrenhal, the Scottish witchy bird gives Damon a final vision, which essentially just serves as reminders of the vastly superior OG show, and also as a mini 30-second trailer for the multiple upcoming spin-offs currently in the works.
Nice.
Somehow though, kooky weirdo Helena seems to have similar visions herself, and totally tells her brother Eamon to screw off about getting her involved in all the warring, because she totally knows what he did to her eggy brother husband, and also how Eamon's going to die all alone in a lake or some shit. Anyway, Rhaenyra soon arrives at Harrenhal to smack her bitch up, now her naughty scheming uncle hubby is apparently on the verge of betraying her, and soon feels like a right wally when he instead totally cucks and repledges fealty to her as the queen. Cause I guess all them visions of his deaded bro Viserys and his nightly chats with that random Scottish witchy bird has totally softened his ambitions of conquering the throne and claiming power and stuff. And to be fair, getting totally owned by that soy boy Scroat into yeeting his own right hand man last epi probably deflated any kind of respect anyone ever had for him over here, while Sir Alfred promptly scuttles away into the crowd like a little bitch now he's totally outed himself as a traitor and shit. Though at least Damon's poor dragon Caraxes now has someone to talk to after being stuck at this crumbly castle for 6 eps straight whilst his owner trips balls with a random witch. Elsewhere, Sir Alan finally has it out with his deadbeat dad for leaving him and Adam to grow up alone and poor as bastard outcasts, and whilst he lived it up in Driftmark with his own fancy wooden throne thing. And speaking of chocolatey outcasts, a bug-eyed Rhaena finally tracks down that wild unclaimed flying beastie, but doesn't bother to tame it here because the writers once again can't bear to seem to pay off any kind of subplot at all this season. Lame. Anyway, after seeking counsel from a kind of sort of lesbo lawyer, hoping there's some way to end all this drama without bloodshed, or at least murdering a bunch of innocents in King's Landing, what she totally needs the support of if she's ever going to reign again, Rhaenyra is rudely summoned out of bed in the dead of night by a surprise visit from her ex-best friend turned stepmummy foe, as Alicent practically begs for mercy, and to allow her and Helena to get out of town and be free to go live in the forest in a nice cottage now things have totally gone tits up, in exchange for secretly letting her arch enemy and her army into King's Landing next time Aemon's out on another killing spree. But naturally, Rhaenyra reckons it's a bit too fucking late for that, given she gave her the opportunity to end it all nicely back in episode 3 just to have it all thrown back in her face. And she don't get to walk away so easy after starting an unnecessary war and then usurping her throne, inheritance and legacy just because she misheard an old man's dying words what also got her mop-haired kiddie killed. And besides, if she were to agree to this madcap scheme, she'd have to publicly take Aegon's head to reclaim the legitimacy of the throne. And she can't really kill a crusty cripple who's permanently confined to his bed, because that would technically be deemed a hate crime these days, and she'd be totally cancelled before she even got to sit on that pointy death trap chair thingy and inevitably contract tetanus. But she just says chill, bro, because no one bloody likes that useless eggy king anyway. So just be there in 2 days' time and I'll totally let you in and shit. And then it'll all be over. And with a bit of luck, HBO won't have to scrape the funds to drag this series out for another friggin' season already. And we end with everyone on all sides gearing up for war. And rather literally. As we promptly sit through a final montage, as Daemon overlooks his army chilling in their tents, Tywin staring out at the sea beside the trans YouTuber and also in front of truly terrible green screen, whilst Lord Corlys endures the longest and most awkward rowing trip of his life. Now he's stuck sitting in front of his scowling bastard son, who sat sulking about how much of an utter fucking failure his father boss was. And look, even that Otto fella's back for some reason, in a 7-second totally pointless cameo, just to eat up some more of the runtime, I guess. As Larys and the Cripple King leave for greener pastures to the land of goats and sheep, whilst the two queens just stare out of the window and out toward the sky, with practically fuck all having happened all season, and essentially just leaving us all with the exact same ending as season 1 for frig's sake. And that's it. That's the final epi. Yeah, what a total anticlimax, bro. Because that was like watching a 70-minute trailer for season 3. A season we probably ain't even going to get for 2 to 3 years at this point. And you're telling me the network have money for random monkeys, but not a complete order of 10 full episodes?
What a fucking liberty!
Though, to be fair, my favourite part was learning that King Aegon's cock exploded when warmed up a little, though not in the fun way.
My cock is destroyed, did they tell you that? Yeah. It burst into flames like a sausage on a spit.
Do not despair, your grace. There are better days ahead.
I can't even piss without it running down my leg.
8,
That's fucked up.
And I can totally relate. Because last time my cock publicly exploded when warmed up a little, I also got a visit from a court official bursting into my bedroom without notice, who promptly gave me a written warning and told me to never ever drunkenly wander into the women's box in Wetherspoons and get inappropriately excited near the warm breeze of the handdryer ever again. Anyway, poor Egon. Well, he sure ain't going to be wanking into the sky again anytime soon, that's for sure. But anyway, that's the plot and that's your lot. Considering that building, so you don't miss any future recaps. Tell me if you like this show in the comments if you have time, and I'll totally ignore my bastard son with you in the next one.